In this lesson, we are going to learn how to estimate an empirical model using linear regression in R. Before we begin, I must admit that there are lots of ways to estimate an empirical model in R, but I prefer estimating empirical models using a package called fixest. So I'm going to load the package here, and then I'm going to select this and click run. So now I have fixest loaded in my R environment. So the first model that I want to estimate, let's call this model 1, and then we are going to use the assignment operator. Next, we are going to use the FEOLS function. So this will be the function we will be using to estimate a linear model. Next, we have to type the name of our outcome variable. So here in this particular example, let's pretend that we are interested in predicting the value of the econ poor variable that we created in an earlier lesson. Next, we'll use the tilde operator. Next, we'll be typing the name of the predictor variables or the explanatory variables. So in this particular model, I'm trying to predict the value of econ poor based on the gender identity of the respondent, which is given by the pp gender variable in the data set that we are working with. Next, I'll put a comma, and then I'll have to type the name of the data set. So in this case, we are using this data underscore line chart data set that we created in an earlier lesson. Then I'm going to put the comma again and then use the weight. We have to type weights equal and then type the name of the data frame, which is data underscore line underscore chart. Then use the $sign and then the weight variable in this data set, which we named weight. So that should be our model. So let's select all this and click run. Now we want to see the findings of the model, and we can do that using this etable function. So just type in the name of the model, which is model 1, select this, click run, and here is the model. So this is the finding of our model. So here the intercept or the reference category, that would be for females, and then we have the estimated coefficient for the male respondents. Now let's add one more variable to our model, but we want to estimate a separate model. So I'm just going to copy this much and paste it here and just change the name of the model to model 2. And let's add another predictor just by adding a plus sign and then typing the name of the new variable, which will be pp age cat. So that's the age category variable that's available in the data set that we are working with. So then I can just select this and click run, and here you can see that in this model we have two predictors. So one is the pp gender and the second one is pp age cat. Now we can further complicate the model. So let's say we add an interaction between these two. So what I'm going to do is copy this, paste it here, and change this plus to this colon. So this would be the interaction between these two variables, and change the name of the model to model 3, and then I can just select this, click run. So this should be our new model. Now how about presenting these three models side by side? So to do that, we can use this etable function and then just type the name of each model. So model 2, model 3, and then we can just select this, click run. There you go. So this etable function is really great because it can present this model side by side, and we can observe what happens to the coefficients of a predictor as we keep adding new and new predictors to our model. Now, one more thing that I really like about this fixest package is that, as you can see, the standard errors here is the default one, which is IID standard errors. Sometimes you might want something like a heteroscedasticity robust standard error. If we want to do that, we can just add one more thing to our code. AC equals, then we can put hetero, and then I can just select this, click run, and next I can just select this and click run. as you can see, it changed the standard errors to heteroscedasticity robust standard errors. So sometimes what happens is, in a particular model that we estimate, we only want to show the coefficients of the interaction term, or maybe coefficients of only a particular set of predictor variables or explanatory variables, rather than showing the whole table. And it's really easy to do using this etable function. So for example, let's say here I just want to present the coefficients of these interaction terms. So how can I do that? So to do that, I can use keep equals, then I can just put x here. So x will just keep the interaction terms. For example, here, as you can see, I only have interaction terms. Of course, it doesn't make any sense to do this in this particular context, because we have model 1 and model 2 without any interaction. So but there might be particular contexts in which you might only want an interaction term in your table. So in that case, you can use this keep option inside the etable function. One last thing before we end: if we want to change the precision of our estimates, by precision I mean how many significant figures we want here, we can change that using the digits. So digits equals, we can make it, let's say 2, then select this, click run. As you can see, it has reduced the number of digits. Another amazing thing about this etable function is that we can just save it as a data frame. So let's call this rec tab, and then use the assignment operator, select this, click run. This will create a data frame, and then we can export this data frame as a CSV file, and then we can have the table in Excel, or we can bring it to Microsoft Word and put it in our report, just like we did in our previous lesson.